Ethan walked through the wide glass doors of the Stellar Horizons Symposium, taking a deep breath as the hum of conversations and distant laughter washed over him. It had been years since he last attended an event like this. Years since he had felt excitement mixed with nervous anticipation. He had spent the last few months focusing on his work in space engineering, fine-tuning propulsion designs for interstellar probes. But tonight was about inspiration, about ideas that stretched the mind beyond what was possible on Earth. As he moved between exhibits, he noticed holographic projections of distant exoplanets spinning gently in the air. Scientists, engineers, and enthusiasts alike were discussing theories, strategies, and dreams. Ethan smiled politely at a few people, nodding as they explained experimental engines and solar sail concepts. It felt comforting, like returning to a place where curiosity was celebrated and human potential was limitless. But then, just as he was about to approach a demonstration on quantum communication arrays, a familiar voice stopped him in his tracks. "Ethan?" He froze. The voice was soft, but it carried the same unmistakable timbre he remembered. He turned slowly, heart skipping a beat. And there she was, Mara, standing beside a display of orbital habitats. Her hair fell over her shoulders in gentle waves, and her eyes held a spark that reminded him of her sister, Lila. Yet they were different, sharper, more thoughtful, and searching. "Mara?" Ethan said, almost in disbelief. "I didn't expect to see you here." "I didn't expect to see you either," she replied, smiling faintly. "It's been a long time." And it had. Years had passed since Lila and Ethan's relationship ended. It had been complicated, full of teenage dreams and mistakes. But now, it felt distant, like a story he had read long ago. Mara had been quiet during all of that, always polite but always present in the background. He remembered her as Lila's younger sister, shy, observant, and intelligent beyond her years. And now, standing here, she seemed different. "I'm here for the symposium," Mara said, her gaze shifting briefly to the holographic planets. "I work on one of the research projects. You know, interstellar studies." Ethan nodded, trying to hide his surprise. Mara had always been brilliant, but he hadn't realized she had gone this far in her career. "That's impressive." "I've been working on propulsion systems myself," he replied. "We might even have crossed paths in one of the publications." They walked together slowly, weaving through clusters of scientists and floating holograms. The conversation began casually, discussing work, theories, and breakthroughs. But beneath it, there was something more, an unspoken tension, a current that neither of them acknowledged outright, but that made every word feel heavier, more charged. Finally, Mara stopped near a quiet corner of the exhibition hall, where the noise faded into a low hum. She looked at Ethan, and for a long moment, there was silence between them. "I have something to tell you," she said quietly. Ethan tilted his head, curiosity flickering. "Okay. What is it?" She took a deep breath, and her eyes seemed to search his, as if measuring whether he could understand. I loved you, even when you were with Lila. And I still do." Ethan blinked, caught completely off guard. His mind raced. He had expected many things, small talk, old memories, maybe even awkward politeness, but not this. Not a confession. His first instinct was to ask a question, to make sense of the timing, the words, the years of silence. "Why now?" he asked finally, his voice calm, but his heart hammering. Mara looked down for a moment, then back up, her eyes steady. "Because I realized I can't let these feelings go unspoken. Life is too short, and I think you should know. Not to complicate things, not to hurt anyone, but because it's true." Ethan didn't know what to say. He had spent years reflecting on Lila, their relationship, and what had gone wrong. Mara's words didn't feel like a threat. They felt honest, real, vulnerable. There was bravery in her confession that left him quietly admiring her. I don't know what to say, he admitted. I never imagined. He paused, running a hand through his hair. I mean, it's not just surprising. It's a lot. I know, Mara said softly, a small smile tugging at her lips. I didn't expect it to be easy to hear either, but I couldn't keep pretending. Ethan leaned back slightly, trying to organize his thoughts. His mind flashed to the countless nights of work, the experiments, the projects that had kept him busy, the friends he had made, the lessons he had learned. And now, here was Mara. Someone who had been silently part of his life, standing before him with an emotion he couldn't ignore. Tell me, why now? He repeated, gently. Why, after all these years? Mara looked away for a moment, her gaze drifting to the holographic planets spinning in the air. It's because I've been working on something. Something that made me realize how short life can be. Something that reminded me of how important human connection is. How much we can lose if we stay silent. Ethan tilted his head, intrigued despite himself. What is it? She hesitated, then smiled faintly, the corners of her eyes crinkling. It's part of my research. I'm working on a project that studies human experiences in extreme environments, neural connections, emotional responses, memory sharing. It's not finished yet, but it's taught me a lot about how people feel and how much courage it takes to share your truth. Ethan raised his eyebrows, impressed. So, this confession is part science, part life lesson? See, one sing. Mara laughed softly, the sound, light and melodic. Maybe. Or maybe it's just me finally being honest. You see, humans are capable of amazing things. We can travel to distant stars, explore planets, push the limits of technology. But sometimes, the hardest thing to do is something simple. Something like saying what you truly feel. Ethan smiled, feeling a warmth he hadn't expected. There was something about Mara's honesty, her quiet strength, that made him see her in a new light. He had always respected her intelligence, but now he respected her courage too. They walked together again, slowly, letting the noise of the symposium fade around them. For a while, neither spoke, each lost in thought. Ethan thought about Lila, about the past, about choices and regrets. Mara thought about the years she had hidden her feelings, the careful balance she had maintained, and the relief that now, at last, she could be herself. Finally, Ethan spoke, his voice soft but steady. You know, I never thought I'd hear this from you. It's unexpected, but I appreciate it. Truly. And I want to understand. I want to know what made you wait. What made you choose now? Mara looked at him, eyes shining with honesty. Because I realized that even in a universe so vast, filled with unknowns and possibilities, human connection is what matters most. If we keep waiting, if we keep hiding, we might miss something beautiful. I didn't want to miss this. I didn't want to miss you. Ethan felt a lump in his throat. There was something about the way she said it, the quiet confidence, the simplicity of the words, that made him realize the truth in her feelings. He nodded slowly, not sure what the future held, but certain that this moment, this conversation was important. Okay, he said finally, smiling gently. Let's figure this out. Together. Mara's smile widened, and for a brief moment, the world around them seemed to pause. The holographic planets spun silently in the air. The voices of the crowd faded into the background. And all that remained was the connection between two people. Honest, brave, and full of possibility. For Ethan, it was the start of something unexpected. For Mara, it was the moment years of silence had finally transformed into courage. And for both of them, it was a reminder that even in a universe filled with stars and endless discoveries, the most powerful force could be human honesty, human courage, and human connection. The next morning, Ethan found himself at the research facility Mara had mentioned. The building was sleek and modern, with glass walls reflecting the rising sun. It was quiet, almost too quiet, except for the low hum of machinery and computers. Mara walked beside him, her steps confident, but her eyes carried a mix of excitement and nervousness. "I thought it would be better if I showed you," Mara said. "Words can only explain so much. Seeing it, experiencing it, that's different." Ethan nodded. He trusted Mara. He had known her for years, and her intelligence was unmatched. Whatever she had discovered, he knew it would be extraordinary. They entered a large laboratory filled with strange equipment. Circular platforms, glowing screens, and cables that twisted like living vines across the floor. In the center of the room was a glass pod, its surface shimmering faintly with a bluish light. "This," Mara began, her voice hushed, "is what I've been working on. I call it the memory bridge." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Memory bridge?" "It's a device that can link two minds," Mara explained. "It allows a person to experience another person's memories and emotions, not just see them like images or videos. Feel them, live them, even for a short time. It's not perfect yet, but it works." Ethan's mind raced. He had studied advanced neural interfaces before, but nothing like this. The technology Mara described sounded like science fiction. And yet, here it was, glowing in front of him, real and tangible. "You're saying I can feel what you feel?" Ethan asked, a mixture of curiosity and caution in his voice. "Yes," Mara said, stepping closer. "And not just me. Eventually, it could work with anyone. Imagine being able to understand someone completely, their fears, their joys, their memories. Empathy without barriers. That's the goal." Ethan felt a shiver of excitement. Humans had always struggled to understand each other fully, even with words, gestures, or expressions. This device could change that. It could deepen connections, prevent misunderstandings, maybe even solve conflicts before they started. Mara looked at him, her expression serious. "I want you to try it. I want you to see what I've been feeling. All these years. Not just about my research, but about you." Ethan hesitated. He had never experienced anything like this before. What would it feel like? Would it change how he saw Mara? Would it even be safe? Graded, with peace, and scented. Seeing his hesitation, Mara smiled gently. "You don't have to decide right now. But it's more than just science. It's about understanding, connection, and honesty. You'll see." They approached the glass pod. It was shaped like an egg, just large enough for one person to sit inside comfortably. The surface shimmered, as if it were alive, and soft blue light pulsed around its edges. "This pod will keep your neural signals stable," Mara explained. "You'll wear this headset, and I'll connect from my side. Once the link is active, you'll experience my memories as if they were your own. You'll see my past, my thoughts, my emotions. Are you ready?" Ethan swallowed hard. The curiosity in him outweighed the fear. He had always believed in exploring the unknown, whether through space or science. "Yes," he said finally. "I'm ready. 3,000, I'm ready. And whether, I'm ready." Mara smiled and helped him into the pod. The headset fit snugly around his head, and a gentle hum filled the space. Mara sat across from him, placing her own headset in position. She closed her eyes, and the connection began. At first, Ethan felt nothing but a faint tingling in his mind. Then, suddenly, he was somewhere else. He was standing in a sunlit garden, the air warm and fragrant with flowers. He could feel the grass beneath his feet, hear birds singing, and smell the earth after rain. But it wasn't his garden. He realized he was seeing through Mara's eyes, seeing her childhood memories. A small girl with bright eyes ran toward him, laughing. It was Mara, but younger, full of energy and curiosity. Ethan felt her joy, as if it were his own. He saw her trying to build a small model rocket, her tiny fingers fumbling with glue and paper. He felt her determination, the thrill of discovery, and the disappointment when the rocket fell apart. Tears stung his eyes. He had never known Mara like this, not the quiet sister of his ex, not the brilliant scientist, but the child who dreamed of reaching the stars. He could feel every emotion, the excitement, the frustration, the hope. The memories shifted. Now he was seeing her teenage years. Mara was studying late into the night, surrounded by books, diagrams, and small experiments. He felt her anxiety as she balanced school, family, and her growing ambitions. He saw the moments she had tried to reach out, moments of kindness he had overlooked, gestures meant for him that he hadn't noticed. Ethan realized he had never truly seen Mara. He had remembered her as Leela's sister, as someone in the background, but not as a person with dreams, fears, and love. The depth of her feelings, the courage she had carried quietly all these years, was overwhelming. Then came the moments about him. Ethan felt her admiration, the little crushes, the secret smiles when he wasn't looking. He felt her disappointment when he and Lila were together, the silent longing, the restraint. And then, finally, he felt her hope, the hope that maybe, someday, he would understand her. Ethan's chest tightened. It was more than just memories. It was living her life for a moment, feeling her emotions as if they were his own. He understood why she had waited. It wasn't because she wanted to hurt anyone or because she was weak. It was because she respected boundaries and because she wanted to be sure that when she confessed, it was real. A new memory appeared, one he had never expected. Mara, sitting in her lab, working on the neural link technology, poring over diagrams, adjusting circuits. He could feel her excitement, her late nights, the breakthrough moments, and the frustration when experiments failed. He realized that her love for him had been intertwined with her work, her desire to explore human connection and understanding, to reach beyond the limits of what humans thought possible. The connection deepened. Ethan felt Mara's thoughts about humanity itself, her belief that humans were capable of incredible courage, kindness, and innovation. He felt her hope that one day, people could understand each other completely, without fear or misjudgment. The experience was overwhelming. Ethan felt tears streaming down his face, though he was in a pod and alone. He felt gratitude, awe, and a strange exhilaration. He had never imagined that human emotions could be so vivid, so intertwined with memories and experiences. Finally, the connection began to fade. Ethan blinked, returning to the lab, feeling as if he had just returned from another world. Mara's eyes met his, soft and curious, waiting for his reaction. Ethan removed the headset slowly, trying to process everything. "That was incredible," he said, his voice shaking slightly. "I didn't just see your memories. I felt them. Every emotion. Every thought. I understand now. I understand why you waited. I understand you." Mara smiled, relief washing over her face. "Thank you for trusting me. I know it's a lot. and I know it's unusual. But I wanted you to see me, to understand me completely, before I said anything more. Ethan nodded slowly. It's more than I could have imagined. I never knew. You carried so much in silence. I'm honored you shared this with me. They sat in silence for a while, letting the experience settle. Ethan felt a new connection, not just with Mara, but with the potential of humanity. He realized that humans were capable of extraordinary empathy, bravery, and understanding. Through technology, through honesty, through courage, they could reach each other in ways that were once impossible. Mara broke the silence. There's more I want to show you, she said, eyes sparkling with excitement. The memory bridge isn't perfect, but it can do amazing things. And I want you to see, not just me, but what humans can really do when we connect, when we push ourselves beyond limits. Ethan smiled. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew one thing. This was just the beginning. And for the first time in years, he felt a sense of wonder, not just for the stars, but for the people around him, for the courage to feel, to love, and to connect. Together, they prepared for the next stage of the experiment. Ethan didn't know what he would feel next, but he trusted Mara, and he trusted the possibilities of the human mind. And in that trust, he felt a spark of hope, connection, and the extraordinary potential of humanity. The memory bridge had shown him a new truth, that understanding and empathy were just as powerful as exploration, innovation, or discovery. And for Ethan, that truth was about to change everything. The morning sun filtered through the large glass windows of the laboratory, casting soft, golden light across the floor. Ethan sat quietly in the pod, feeling both excitement and a touch of nervousness. The first experience with the memory bridge had been overwhelming, but it had also awakened something inside him. A curiosity, a connection, and a new appreciation for Mara, and for humans in general. Mara adjusted the headset on her own head, giving him a reassuring smile. Today, she said, we'll go a bit deeper. I want to share more than memories. I want you to feel the emotions behind them, the hopes, the fears, and the dreams that shaped me. Ethan nodded. He trusted her. He had felt the intensity of her past, and he wanted to go further, to truly understand her perspective and the courage she carried within. As he settled into the pod, Mara initiated the link. The familiar tingling sensation returned, but this time it was stronger, warmer, as if the connection between their minds was more alive than before. Slowly, the lab around him faded, replaced by a vivid tapestry of memories and emotions. He was standing in a frozen tundra, snow crunching beneath his feet. Ethan immediately felt Mara's determination, a memory of a research expedition she had undertaken in her university years. The wind bit at his skin, cold and sharp, and yet there was a sense of exhilaration. He could feel her excitement as she navigated the harsh landscape, collecting samples and recording data. The memory was precise, detailed, but the emotions were what struck him most: pride, curiosity, and the quiet joy of discovery. Ethan realized he wasn't just seeing the memory, he was experiencing it. He felt the cold, the fatigue, and the triumph that Mara had felt when she finally completed her research. It was as if he had walked alongside her, living each moment. He understood, in a way he never had before, the depth of her resilience and the strength she had cultivated over the years. The scene shifted. He was now in a library, surrounded by towering shelves of books and glowing data panels. Mara was younger, working late into the night, studying human psychology, neuroscience, and advanced AI. Ethan could feel her focus, her excitement at new discoveries, and the frustration when experiments failed. He felt her dedication, her refusal to give up, even when obstacles seemed insurmountable. It struck him that Mara's love for him was not separate from her work. It was deeply intertwined, with her drive to explore, to understand, and to push beyond limits. Every late night, every failure, every triumph had shaped the person she was, the feelings she had carried quietly for so long. Then came memories of him. Ethan felt her admiration, her unspoken affection during moments they had shared long ago, a brief smile in passing, a comforting hand on his shoulder when he was troubled, silent encouragement during his early projects. He felt her joy in his successes and her quiet sorrow in his struggles. The emotions were vivid, raw, and deeply human. Ethan's chest tightened. For the first time, he saw Mara not as Leela's sister or a brilliant scientist, but as a person who had quietly shaped her life around love, hope, and empathy. He realized the bravery it had taken to remain silent for so long, the courage required to confess now. A new memory appeared Mara in the lab with the first prototype of the memory bridge. Ethan felt her determination to make it perfect, her nervous excitement as she tested the neural links, her cautious hope that one day someone might truly understand her. He felt her fear of failure and rejection, and yet her unwavering belief that this technology could connect humans in ways words never could. As the memories unfolded, Ethan began to sense something more. He felt Mara's belief in humanity, the idea that humans were capable of extraordinary empathy, courage, and understanding. He felt her hope that one day, people could bridge the gaps between themselves, not just through science, but through honesty and trust. Ethan realized that this experience was changing him too. He could feel his own emotions intertwining with Mara's admiration, respect, and a growing affection he hadn't acknowledged before. He understood the human capacity for connection in a way he never had, and he felt a renewed appreciation for the strength and resilience that defined them. The memory shifted again. He was now back in the city where they had grown up, walking down a familiar street with Mara. He could feel her nostalgia, the quiet happiness she had felt in those moments, and the longing she had carried for him. He saw their shared experiences in a new light, small gestures, unspoken words, and moments of care that he had overlooked at the time. Ethan felt a pang of regret for the years he hadn't truly noticed her. But he also felt hope. He realized that human connections were never fixed, that understanding and empathy could grow even after time had passed. He could feel the possibility of a future where he and Mara could explore not just the universe, but the depths of human emotion together. The connection deepened further, taking him into memories Mara had never shared with anyone. He felt her excitement at first discoveries, her pride in small achievements, and her quiet contemplation during moments of uncertainty. He felt the weight of responsibility she had carried, the fear of failure, and the determination to push forward. Through it all, Ethan felt something remarkable, a sense of human triumph. He realized that humans were capable of extraordinary resilience, not just in science or exploration, but in the simple act of caring for each other, of being honest and brave in expressing their emotions. Mara's feelings were not just about him, they were a reflection of human potential, of the strength that came from empathy, courage, and love. The final memory was the most powerful. Ethan felt Mara's hope for the future, hope that humans could connect more deeply, understand each other fully, and overcome obstacles through trust and honesty. He felt her belief that love, courage, and empathy were the greatest achievements of all. It was overwhelming, yet uplifting. And Ethan understood that this experience was more than a journey through memories. It was a revelation about what it meant to be human. When the connection finally ended, Ethan removed the headset slowly, his mind spinning from the intensity of what he had experienced. He looked at Mara, and her eyes shone with a mixture of anticipation and vulnerability. I don't know what to say," he admitted, his voice soft. "That was unlike anything I've ever felt. I didn't just see your memories, I lived them. I felt everything. I understand now. Everything." Mara smiled gently. "I'm glad. I wanted you to know me completely, before anything else." to understand why I felt what I did, and why I had to wait. You don't have to say anything. Just knowing that you understand means a lot. Ethan nodded. He realized that understanding someone so deeply was a rare gift. He felt a connection that went beyond words, beyond time and space. It was a connection built on empathy, honesty, and shared human experience. A connection that reflected the very best of humanity. He took a deep breath. I feel it too. The hope, the courage, the connection. And I feel something more. Something I can't ignore. Mara's eyes widened slightly, and she leaned closer, her expression soft. You don't have to explain it. Just feel it. That's enough for now. They sat together in silence, letting the intensity of the experience settle. Ethan felt a sense of awe, not just for Mara, but for humanity itself. Humans were capable of extraordinary things. Exploring distant stars, creating groundbreaking technology, and connecting in ways that transcended time and space. And now, through the memory bridge, he had felt the emotional depth that made humans truly remarkable. Ethan realized that this was more than a personal journey. It was a reminder of what humans could achieve when they embraced empathy, courage, and honesty. The memory bridge was not just a tool, it was a symbol of human potential, a testament to the power of understanding and connection. Mara broke the silence. Tomorrow, she said softly, I want to show you something even more personal. It's about the choices we make, the connections we build, and how humans can inspire each other to be better. Are you ready? Ethan smiled, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. Yes, he said. I want to see it all. I want to understand. And I want to be part of it. As they prepared for the next phase of the memory bridge, Ethan knew one thing for certain. This journey was changing him, shaping him, and opening his heart to possibilities he had never imagined. And he knew that the connection he shared with Mara, built on trust, understanding, and human courage, was just the beginning of something extraordinary. In the quiet hum of the laboratory, surrounded by blinking lights and glowing panels, Ethan felt a profound truth, that the greatest discoveries were not only among the stars, but also within the human heart. And for the first time in a long time, he felt ready to embrace both. The laboratory was quiet in the early morning, with only the soft hum of machines and blinking lights breaking the silence. Ethan sat in the pod, staring at the glowing panels around him. Today would be different. Mara had guided him through her memories and emotions, letting him understand her deeply. Now, it was his turn. He would share his own thoughts, memories, and feelings, not just about his life, but also about his past with Lila. Mara adjusted her headset and gave him a gentle nod. Are you ready? She asked. Her eyes were filled with warmth, encouragement, and trust. Ethan took a deep breath. Yes, he said. I want to do this. I want you to understand me. The real me. The tingling sensation returned as the memory bridge connected them again. Slowly, the laboratory faded, replaced by vivid scenes from Ethan's past. He was back in his childhood home, walking through the living room filled with warm sunlight and the faint smell of fresh bread. Ethan could feel the emotions of those early days: curiosity, excitement, and wonder. He saw himself tinkering with small gadgets, trying to build simple machines that never worked as intended, yet feeling proud of his efforts. Through the connection, Mara could feel his joy, his determination, and his moments of frustration. She could sense the curiosity that had driven him to study space engineering, to reach beyond the limits of what humans thought possible. She could feel the spark of ingenuity that had shaped his life and his choices. The memory shifted. Ethan was now a teenager, sitting in the small park where he and Lila had first met. He felt the nervous excitement of young love, the confusion of emotions, and the thrill of companionship. He felt Lila's presence, her laughter, the quiet moments they shared under the shade of the trees. Mara felt the depth of Ethan's affection for Lila, the care he had shown, and the struggles he had faced in balancing his own ambitions with the relationships he cherished. Ethan's memories then took him to his early projects, late nights in cluttered workshops, blueprints scattered across tables, and moments of quiet triumph when a machine finally worked. He could feel the pride, the exhilaration, and the frustration of failure. Mara could feel his dedication, his resilience, and the relentless curiosity that had driven him to pursue space exploration. As the memories continued, Ethan shared the moments that had shaped his understanding of love and connection. He showed Mara the quiet kindnesses he had offered to friends, the small sacrifices he had made for those he cared about, and the regrets he had carried for decisions he wished he could undo. Mara felt every emotion, every hesitation, every hope and fear. She understood the layers of his personality, the complexity of his choices, and the depth of his humanity. Then came the memories of Lila, moments he had shared with her that had left lasting impressions. Mara felt the tenderness he had felt, the joy of shared laughter, and the sorrow of parting ways. She sensed his growth through these experiences, how his love for Lila had taught him patience, empathy, and understanding. And she could feel the moments of confusion and doubt, the lessons he had learned about the human heart and the challenges of connection. Ethan felt the presence of Mara in the memory bridge, understanding her reactions, her emotions, and her empathy. He realized that this experience was more than just sharing memories. It was about connecting on a level deeper than words could ever convey. He could sense her understanding, her care, and the quiet admiration she had developed for him, just as he had come to admire her courage, intelligence, and resilience. A new memory surfaced. One Ethan had kept private for years. He was sitting in his room late at night, thinking about the future, about the stars, and about the people he cared for. He felt a mix of hope and uncertainty, longing and determination. Mara could feel his dreams as if they were her own, the ambition to explore, the desire to understand, and the hope that one day, humanity could achieve greatness. Through the shared memories, Ethan also revealed his regrets moments when he wished he had been more present, more attentive, more understanding. Mara felt his remorse, but she also felt his strength and resilience. She understood that humans were not defined by their mistakes, but by their ability to learn, grow, and strive for better. The most significant moment came when Ethan shared his feelings for Mara, the admiration he had always had for her intelligence, the subtle awareness of her presence, and the quiet appreciation of her courage. Mara could feel the warmth in his emotions, the sincerity of his thoughts, and the deep respect he held for her. She realized that Ethan had always seen her, in ways she had never expected, and that his feelings had been shaped by his understanding of her as a person, not just as Lila's sister. As the memories concluded, Ethan felt a sense of release. He had shared his past, his thoughts, and his emotions. Mara had understood him completely, and he had experienced the profound connection of empathy and trust. He realized that this journey was not just about personal discovery, but about the extraordinary power of human connection. When the memory bridge finally disconnected, Ethan removed his headset, his heart pounding with emotion. He looked at Mara, whose eyes were shimmering with understanding and care. That was incredible. I feel like you truly know me now, and I know you. I can feel everything, your courage, your hopes, your love, and I hope you can feel the same about me. Mara smiled, her eyes reflecting the same warmth he felt. I do, she said gently. I feel it all. Your fears, your dreams, your love. I understand why you are who you are, and I admire you for it. Ethan reached out, taking her hand in his. The simple touch was filled with emotion, trust, understanding, and a growing bond. They didn't need words. The memory bridge had already spoken. For a long moment, They sat together in silence, letting the weight of their shared experience settle. Ethan felt a profound sense of connection, a realization that humans were capable of extraordinary empathy, understanding, and courage. He saw that love and trust were not just personal feelings, but reflections of humanity's best qualities: resilience, kindness, and the willingness to reach beyond oneself, to connect with another. Mara broke the silence with a soft laugh. "You know," she said, "I think this device could change everything. Not just for us, but for humanity. Imagine if everyone could truly understand each other, their hopes, their fears, their love. Conflicts could be resolved before they even started. People could empathize deeply, without misunderstanding or prejudice." Ethan nodded. "I can see that, and I can feel it. Humans are capable of incredible things, not just exploration or invention, but connection. This shows the true strength of people. The power of empathy and understanding." Mara squeezed his hand gently. "And we've only just begun. There's so much more to explore, not just the universe, but the human heart. I want to see where this connection can take us, and what we can achieve together." Ethan smiled, feeling a new sense of purpose. He realized that the bond they shared was more than romantic or personal. It was a reflection of humanity's potential. Together, they could explore not just distant stars, but the depths of human emotion and understanding. As they prepared for the next phase of their work, Ethan felt a renewed sense of hope. He had experienced Mara's memories, shared his own, and discovered the extraordinary power of empathy and connection. He knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they could face them together, guided by trust, honesty, and the remarkable resilience of the human spirit. In that quiet laboratory, surrounded by machines and glowing panels, Ethan and Mara had discovered something profound: that the greatest journeys were not always among the stars, but within the hearts and minds of humans. And that journey, once begun, could transform not just individuals, but all of humanity. As the sun rose higher in the sky, Ethan looked at Mara and smiled. "I think we're ready," he said softly. "Ready for whatever comes next. Together." Mara returned the smile, her eyes shining with determination and hope. "Together," she echoed. And in that moment, surrounded by technology, memories, and the quiet hum of possibility, Ethan understood the true meaning of connection, courage, and the extraordinary strength of humanity. They were not just two people discovering love, they were a symbol of human potential, a reminder that empathy, trust, and understanding were the most powerful forces in the universe. The laboratory was alive with quiet energy, humming with the soft whir of machines and the gentle glow of screens. Ethan and Mara stood side by side, their hands brushing occasionally, the warmth of trust and connection lingering between them. The memory bridge had changed everything, not just their understanding of each other, but their understanding of what it meant to be human. "Are you ready for this next step?" Mara asked, her voice steady but carrying a hint of excitement. Ethan nodded, taking a deep breath. "I am. I want to see where this takes us together." Mara smiled. "Good. Today, we're not just exploring memories. We're exploring possibilities, what humans can do when we combine knowledge, courage, and empathy." Ethan's curiosity was piqued. "Possibilities? Like what?" Mara led him to a large holographic map of the galaxy. Tiny lights pulsed on the display, marking planets, stations, and exploration routes. "This is where humanity can go," she said. "Not just physically, but emotionally and socially. I want to use the memory bridge to connect more people, scientists, explorers, even leaders. Imagine if they could truly understand one another before making decisions that affect millions. Wars could be prevented. Collaboration could reach new heights, humans could achieve what was once impossible. Ethan felt a thrill run through him. The idea wasn't just ambitious, it was revolutionary. "That's incredible," he said. "It's not just technology. It's a tool to bring out the best in humanity." Mara nodded. "Exactly. And we'll start with ourselves. Then we can understand how to work with the rest of the world, and maybe even the universe." They returned to the memory bridge pod. Ethan felt a mixture of excitement and nervous anticipation. He had already experienced Mara's memories, shared his own, and discovered the extraordinary depth of human connection. But today was about exploring the future, the potential of humans working together, hearts and minds aligned. As Mara initiated the link, the familiar tingling returned. Slowly, the laboratory faded, replaced by a vision of the future, not just of their lives, but of humanity itself. They were standing on a newly established orbital station, high above a shimmering blue planet. Ethan could feel the pride and dedication of the engineers and scientists who had built it, the excitement of humans expanding their reach into space. Mara's memories and emotions were intertwined with the collective feelings of those pioneers' hope, determination, and joy. Ethan felt the energy of collaboration, the sense that humans could achieve anything when they worked together. He saw scientists from different nations, backgrounds, and cultures sharing knowledge, ideas, and dreams. He felt their trust in one another, their courage to take risks, and their unwavering belief in human potential. This is amazing," Ethan whispered. "It's like feeling humanity's heartbeat." "This," Mara smiled. "It is. And it's just the beginning. Humans are capable of extraordinary things, not just exploration, but connection, understanding, and growth. The more we share, the more we can achieve together." The vision shifted. They were now at the edge of a distant star system, observing a planet that had never been visited. Ethan could feel the awe of the explorers who first approached it, the wonder of discovering new worlds, the exhilaration of taking the first steps into the unknown. Mara's memories conveyed not just scientific achievement, but the emotional courage required to leave everything familiar behind and venture into uncharted space. Ethan felt a surge of inspiration. Humans were not just surviving in the universe, they were thriving, exploring, and connecting in ways that had never been imagined. He understood that the true strength of humanity lay not in machines, ships, or technology, but in empathy, courage, and the willingness to trust one another. The vision shifted again, this time to a community of humans working together on a distant colony planet. Ethan could feel the cooperation, problem-solving, and creativity of people building homes, schools, and farms in a harsh, alien environment. He felt their determination, their hope, and their belief that humans could overcome any challenge if they worked together. Mara's memories added a layer of personal emotion, pride in their accomplishments, gratitude for the people around them, and the quiet joy of being part of something bigger than themselves. Ethan felt a profound truth. Humans were capable of incredible things, not just as individuals, but collectively. And the memory bridge was a way to amplify that potential to share understanding, empathy, and courage across minds, hearts, and even generations. As the vision of the future continued to unfold, Ethan felt a deep connection to Mara. He understood that their bond was more than personal affection. It was a reflection of the human capacity for connection and growth. Together, they could explore not just the universe, but the depths of human potential. The final memory showed them standing together on a distant observation deck. Looking out at the stars, Ethan could feel Mara's hope, her dreams, and her belief in humanity's greatness. He felt his own emotions, admiration, love, and a sense of purpose. And in that shared vision, he understood that they were not alone. Humans everywhere were reaching for the stars, connecting with one another, and building a future full of possibility. When the memory bridge finally disconnected, Ethan and Mara removed their headsets. The laboratory felt quiet, yet alive with energy and potential. Ethan turned to Mara, his eyes shining with awe and gratitude. "That was beyond anything I could have imagined," he said. "Not just about us, but about humanity. I can feel it, the courage, the empathy, the potential to do amazing things. We've only scratched the surface." Mara smiled, her eyes sparkling. "And we will go further. Together, humanity can achieve so much if we stay connected, if we trust one another, and if we never stop exploring not just the universe, but ourselves." Ethan reached for her hand, holding it gently. "I never realized how powerful humans could be, and I never realized how much I wanted to share that with someone like you." Mara squeezed his hand in return. "And I'm glad you did. We're partners in this, in life, in discovery, in understanding. Together, we can make the impossible possible." Outside the laboratory, the city gleamed under the morning sun. Satellites moved silently above, and distant planets shimmered in the sky. The world was vast, full of unknowns, and waiting for explorers, dreamers, and those willing to connect. Ethan and Mara stood together, feeling the weight and beauty of the universe around them. They knew that challenges would come, technical problems, difficult decisions, and moments of uncertainty. But they also knew that humanity, when united by empathy, courage, and determination, could overcome anything. "We have work to do," Mara said softly, her gaze fixed on the stars. "Not just for ourselves, but for everyone. There's a whole universe out there, and humans can rise to meet it." Ethan nodded, feeling the warmth of hope and purpose fill him. "Then let's rise together. For the universe, and for humanity." And so, they began. Together, Ethan and Mara continued their work with the memory bridge, connecting minds, sharing understanding, and inspiring others to reach beyond the limits of what they thought was possible. They traveled to distant colonies, shared the technology with explorers and scientists, and helped others experience the extraordinary power of human empathy and courage. Through it all, their bond grew stronger. They were not just partners in love, but partners in purpose, reflecting the very best of humanity. Their journey was a reminder that humans were capable of incredible things: exploration, innovation, and connection, and that the universe was full of opportunities for those brave enough to reach for the stars. In the quiet moments, when they looked at one another, Ethan and Mara felt the simple truth that had started it all. Understanding, honesty, and empathy could change everything. The memory bridge had shown them the strength of the human heart, and together, they were ready to show the world just how far humans could go. As the sun set behind the city and distant planets shimmered in the sky, Ethan whispered, "We're ready." Mara smiled, her eyes reflecting the brilliance of the stars. "Always," she said. And in that moment, surrounded by the hum of machines and the infinite possibilities of the universe, Ethan and Mara stepped forward together, not just into a new chapter of their lives, but into a future where humanity itself could shine brighter than any star. The journey was far from over, but for the first time, they knew that together, they could face anything, and that the human spirit, when guided by courage, empathy, and connection, could achieve the extraordinary.